All right, everyone, welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 2 recap. This was another ugly week for a lot of people. Um, man, injuries again. This is one of the worst opening 2 weeks or so that I think we've seen in a long time. People going down with injuries. If you're just surviving at this point is the main goal. Although not everyone obviously has been hit by this. A couple people went over 200 this week. We didn't have anybody last week, but we had two teams this week. We'll get to those injuries probably during the matchup discussions here. Trying to think if there's anything else that we can talk about off the top. Duh. Kevin Bean. What's up, buddy? So you proposed a trade to me. When was it? Friday morning, I believe. I wanted to check, looking earlier, to verify what you said. I believe you sent it to me at like around 8:45 in the morning on Friday, when I was probably sitting in my hotel lobby eating breakfast down in Baltimore and getting ready to drive home. And I saw it there, and at first my first thought was, But I said I didn't have much time. I was getting on the road, basically came home, took a quick nap, and went straight to work. And it was like, well, I'll think about this tomorrow, if it's still there, on Saturday. And so, yeah, I spent pretty much most of the day on Saturday just casually thinking about this, wondering when, Kevin, you were going to cancel the trade offer. And the more I was thinking about this and thinking about this, it's like, I think, first of all, I think I have to take this trade. I think it's going to deplete my wide receiver or my running backs a little bit, but I'm getting Jamar Chase. I mean, I have Burrow. I'll say this, T. Higgins, perhaps also Jamar Chase, are on the trade block. I'm definitely willing to trade one of them. We'll see what happens when T comes back. I hope that there are better days ahead for my Bengals stack here. But anyway, it's just like I'm getting Jamar Chase, who should be a top 5 wide receiver. Like, you're offering me. And then I looked at Kevin, I looked at your roster, and like, he has like 7 running backs. Why is he trading for another? Why is he offering to trade his best running back or his best wide receiver for another running back when you already had like 6 or 7 on your roster? Let me take a quick. I don't think you've really made any moves since then, Kevin. You have a defense there, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. Where are you, Dub C hooligans? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you had 6 running backs on your roster. So Pacheco was number 7, right? David Montgomery, Gus Edwards, Hubba Bubba, Chase Brown, one of your keepers you haven't used yet. Mostert is 5. McLaughlin makes 6. And now Pacheco makes 7 running backs on your roster. Wide receivers, Waddle, Ayuk, Pierce, that's 3. Lazard is 4. Dubs, Bateman. It's 5, 6. I mean, that's 6, but those are not 6 that jump off the screen, especially knowing that Tua had already gone down. Not sure when he'll be back. That hurts Waddle. You do get a break, I guess, with Debo now hurt. So Ayuk might get some more. But still, your wide receiver 3s, you're going to be juggling Alec Pierce, Alan Lazard, Romeo Doubs, and Rashad Bateman. This whole, that you even offered me this trade was confusing. Like, Detling was trying to figure it out, and so I thought about this, and I was like, I really had to think about it. But once I sat down and really was like, I think I know it's going to mess up things a little bit, but who is the better player, I think, long for the rest of the season? I think it's going to be Jamar Chase, because Pacheco has a less than favorable playoff schedule. Not that we're thinking about that in week 2. But, so yeah, that's basically what this came down to. Kevin offered me this trade. I let it sit there for almost 2 days before I was like, I think I just have to take this. Pacheco did do better than Chase. It wouldn't have made any difference in my matchup this week, but obviously we all know now that Pacheco then went out and broke a bone in his leg, and he's going to be out for a while. So there's probably going to be a feeding frenzy on Chiefs running backs in the free agent market here later this evening. But yeah, that's kind of what I don't want to talk too long about this. They can talk about it on the podcast too a little bit, but that's basically from my perspective. Was just Kevin sent me this trade, and I'm like, doesn't make a lot of sense on his perspective, considering the makeup of his team. But I mean, I really had to think about it, is the point, but I did it, and yeah, worked out. So, sorry, Kevin. We'll see what happens, but you never know. You never know. Just from a lineup standpoint, the trade didn't make any sense. That you were taking your wide receiver 1 out of the picture and taking a solid trio into a questionable thing there. But I guess who am I to talk? My wide receivers were highly just basically laughed at, for rightly so. But we'll see. JSN maybe not be a laughing stock for much longer. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into my matchup, because I am the defending champion, in case you need to be reminded. All right. First matchup, we've got Ed Lager going against the Wizard of Winber, trying to avoid going 0-2. Not able to do that. Ed Lager brings the Thunder, goes over 200 points this week, putting the Wizard of Winber in his place, 204.65 to 156.1. All right, for Ed Lager, Kirk Cousins goes for 40. Just solid numbers up and down his lineup. Devontae goes for 26. Olav, 13. Zay, 22. Saquon, 17.5. Stevenson, 17. Dalton Schultz, only 4, but Godwin went for 25. Matt's Gay gets you 3-point-something. And you picked up a good one, the Houston Texans defense. On Sunday morning, I think, plugged them in. Yahoo says 19. I think your actual score was, let's take a quick look here. Another 18 points, looks like, up to 37. So solid numbers up and down your entire roster here, besides your tight end and your kicker. More than enough to get past the Wizard of Wimber this week. Joe Burrow goes for 43. Shakir, 10.5. Jamar Chase, only 7.5. Jerry Jeudy, 12.5. Etienne, 15. Rashad White, only 3.3. Freiermuth, 8. Jordan Mason in the flex goes for 20.5. Fairbairn, my kicker, goes for about 21, almost 22. My highest scoring player, not the quarterback, I think for the, possibly, is it for the second week in a row? Yes. For the second week in a row, my highest scoring non-quarterback is my kicker. It's going to be one of those years, I guess, guys. Anyway, Baltimore defense, really thought they were going to have a much better game than they did. Only got, Yahoo says 11. I think it was 17. Ended up losing the game there at the end. Would have liked a few more points from them. But really nothing that my team could have done because Ed's just went, was solid, top to bottom. Not much you can do. And Ed gets the victory. He moves to 1-1. He is in 6th place, while the Wizard of Wimber drops to 0-2 and is in 10th place. All right. Shawshank Athletics, after having a rough week 1, tries to turn things around against Biscuits and Porn. Unfortunately, Shawshank not able to do so this week as Biscuits gets the victory, 160.15 to 131.2. Shawshank playing musical chairs with his quarterbacks. I think last week, I think they basically scored the same thing. You went away from Geno and went to Richardson this week. Ended up being the wrong move. Yikes. You lost by 29. Yeah. Geno Smith scored 50s. Yeah. Josh, if you had started Geno Smith this week instead of Richardson, you win this matchup because Geno went for 57, which was 32 points higher, 31.5 or so. Yeah, you lost. If you lost by 29, you would have just squeaked out a victory this week if you had stuck with Geno Smith. But you didn't, and here we are. Let's talk about the team that won this matchup. Why don't we? Patrick Mahomes, 30.5. DJ Moore, 11.5. Devontae Smith, 20.5. McConkey, 4.5. We have a theme going here. Najee Harris, 8.5. Gibbs, 17.5. Godert, 6.8. Bang Bang Robinson goes for 17.5. Aubrey, your kicker, goes for about 18. And then your Buns, your Kansas City Buns strategy this year worked for you this week. Let's see, Yahoo says 15. Looks like you got a, with 12 would be too much, so it must have been a 9-point bump to 24 from your Chiefs defense. No Binks there. I think the only Binks were CD Lamb and Justin Jefferson, right? For Josh, like I said, Anthony Richardson only gets 26, which was the deciding factor. You picked the wrong quarterback this week. Garrett Wilson goes for 10.2. Drake London, 17.5. Pickens, only 5. DeAndre Swift, 8. Tony Pollard, 15. Kelsey. Travis Kelsey, 1.6. What is going on here? Travis Kelce has 8 fantasy points in 2 games. 8 in the first. Wow. You knew that he was bound to fall off eventually, but this is like falling completely off the cliff, falling off the face of the earth, right? Basically, better days are ahead. Is that all I can think to say here for you, Josh? Let's see, Wan'Dale Robinson. Things are tough when you're starting Wan'Dale Robinson, but he scored a touchdown, got 9.8. Butker goes for about 10, and the Steelers defense, Yahoo says 17. Your bump looks like about 12 to 29. But yeah, not enough to get past Biscuits this week. All you had to do was keep Geno Smith in there. You didn't do it. Yeah, because the rest of your lineup is on the bench there is single digits. So really nothing, Josh, you could have done except for kept Geno Smith in there. So we will see what you decide to do going forward. If Anthony Richardson can turn things around, or if you're going to be hopping back on Geno Smith here. Anyway, Shawshank, he is 0-2. He stays in 12th place this week. Can't be knocked out of the knockout pool twice. Fortunately for you there, Josh. And Biscuits and Porn, he moves to 1-1. Although he stays down there in 8th place. All right, next up, Boomers versus Darkwing Jut. After Darkwing had a huge week 1, completely tailspin this week, Boomers cruises to a fairly easy victory, 164.95 to 131.75 for Darkwing. Just barely for, I believe, the Dub C Hooligans. The Eagles defense just barely got you enough between them and Jalen Hurts. Just about a point and a half. Even though you actually, compared to what Yahoo said, Kevin, you lost 3 points from your Eagles defense. So in comparison to what Yahoo had there, but you were just able to hold on and actually knock Justin out of the knockout pool this week. Boomers, he gets Brock Purdy going for 47. Debo gets 18, although he is now out for a few weeks. Mike Evans, 7.2. Tank Dell kind of disappeared, only 2.3. Aaron Jones gets 10. J.K. Dobbins, back from the dead. J.K. Dobbins, 23 points. How long will he hold up? Hey, I hope the guy has one of the greatest fantasy seasons of all time. Maybe he will. That said, I don't care. I would not go near J.K. Dobbins if it was the last round of the draft and he was there. I would not draft him. I don't care. He is one of my all-time stay away from guys because God, the injuries. I'm so genuinely surprised that he has come back from all of those knee injuries, leg injuries, and looking as good as he is so far. How long will that hold up? Maybe I'll end up, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, that's fine. But I have zero faith in J.K. Dobbins. Perhaps, again, maybe he'll have the greatest fantasy season ever. Who knows? Unlikely, but who knows? And but that will not change my opinion. Yeah, I will never, ever go near him. No offense to him as a person. Maybe he's the most wonderful person you could ever hope to meet. But, yeah. That's my stance on J.K. Dobbins. McBride goes for 18.5. Bijan, 16. Koo goes for about 9.5. And your Colts defense. Yahoo says 9. Looks like it must have been 12. So you got a 3-point bump there. But yeah, it was enough to get past Darkwing Jet this week, who his Buffalo Bills, despite winning 31-10, really did nothing at all. It was the James Cook show, as we all probably recall. Josh Allen only goes for 24, and Keon Coleman, a donut, 0. Jamison Williams, 14.5. CD Lamb, he had a bink, so he got 22. Kyron Williams gets 15. Joe Mixon gets 8. Mark Andrews, 9. Xavier Worthy in the flex. I guess he's not going to score a touchdown. 66% of his touches. Only 4.2 this week. Elliott, your kicker, from the Eagles, gets you about 6. And the Jets defense showed up a little. At least they showed up for you this week. Yahoo says 19. Looks like you got I think 12 would be too much. So a 9-point bump to 28. But yeah, 20s from your quarterback, a 0, a couple single-digit scores there. Not enough to get it done here this week. Darkwing Jet, you dropped to 1-1. You are in 7th place. While Boomers stays undefeated. He is 2-0, and he is in 3rd place. All right, next up, the closest matchup of the week, although was basically Gag's desperation on Monday night here. Disco gets a victory, an even 188. For Gags, we've got 169.55. So about a 17-point difference there. No, 18 and a half, sorry. Let's see, take a look at what happened here. We all know after a very solid week 1, the Tua Tyreek stack is already decommissioned, off the rails. Tua is on IR. I don't know, probably the 4-week temporary IR. Okay, yeah, he is in the concussion protocol. So yeah, I don't even know who their quarterback is. Skylar Thompson, maybe. So yeah, the Tua Tyreek stack. In this matchup, Tua had 21 points before exiting, and Tyreek only got 6.5. But we should talk about the winner of these matchups first, don't you think? Shouldn't we? I keep delving into the woes of the defeated before I talk about the guy we should be talking about first. The winner. To the victor go the spoils. All right, we got the Murray Harrison stack coming through this week. Murray goes for 48, and Marvin Harrison goes for 29. So that was basically 30 and 47 is 77. So good. Almost 80 points there from your Murray Harrison stack. That's going to carry you a long way, pretty much, if on most weeks. Brian Thomas, 11.5. Deontay, thanks to A.J. Brown. Now, he was one of the injuries this week also. He goes down with a hamstring injury. Let's take a look at your bench here. I expect him to miss multiple weeks, but I don't see anything about the temporary IR, so I guess that's good, but not good is a hamstring injury for A.J. Brown. So you got to put in plug and play Deontay this week. He gets you 4.5, but we'll see because, as we know, Carolina has benched Bryce Young already and thrown in the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. So Deontay might actually start to get decent numbers. Ashan, again, goes for almost 30 points this week. I don't know if he scored any touchdowns, but yeah, he's had 7 catches. Both the first 2 weeks, he has. So last week his yardage was low, but he scored a touchdown. This week he had almost 100 rushing yards. Both weeks so far this year, he's had 7 catches and about 70 yards. He scored a touchdown again this week. It was a receiving one though, so we will see what happens. I think. I mean, can he keep this pace with Tua going down? Quarterback situation is going to be iffy. Let's be honest, Ashan is injury prone. Also, not to be a sad sack here, or put the wizard hope curse on anybody here, but we'll see if Ashan can keep that pace for most of the season. If he does, he'll be probably one of the best steals. I mean, Ashan and Breece Hall, possibly one of the greatest, could end up being one of the greatest. Since I said that before, Disco, let's inflate your ego. Then here, perhaps could end up being perhaps the best keeper combination of all time, Ashan and Breece Hall. Maybe, we'll see. Josh Jacobs goes for 16. Parkinson, and Njoku, he goes for 2.2. Breece goes for 24.5. Carlson, another kicker, going for about 18. And then your Dallas Cowboys defense. One of the things that I thought was going to make one of the things coming out of the draft, I felt was going to put your team like over the top this year. Getting the Cowboys defense, but they got absolutely shellacked by the New Orleans Saints. Yahoo says 7, and that must have been correct because your kicker score only, that must have been correct. 7 points from your because you actually, no. Did you have I had to take points away from you, so it must have been 4. Because your final score is lower than what Yahoo says. So yeah, Cowboys defense must have gotten you only 4 points this week. But you got the win, and we're going to be honest, all that matters this time of year is piling up some victories. And it gets you a long way towards the playoff race. Gags, let's see, it said Tua, only 21 before he checked out. Tyreek, 6.5. Diggs, 7.5. Tyler Lockett, 3.5. Wasting your Alvin Kamara, was it 4 touchdown performance? 47 points. Kamara blows up this week. All wasted. Trying. He just doesn't quite. He for a minute there, he must have thought he was playing for the Isotopes again. But then somebody told him, hey, the Isotopes don't exist anymore. So he was like, oh, I guess I don't need 6 touchdowns. I'll just stop here at 4. Sorry about that, Gags. James Conner goes for 22.5. Pitts goes for 5. Zeke in the lineup. 5.2. Justin Tucker, 12 point something. And then your Chargers defense. One of your best performers besides Kamara here. Yahoo says 14. Whew, you must have gotten a pretty nice bump here because you didn't have any banks, but you got a big bump there. From 44 to 69. That's a 25 points. So you must have gotten 24. 38 from your defense. So yeah, you outscored Disco on the defense there. 30, what did we say? 38 to 4. And Kamara going for 47, but Ashan's 30, kind of at least kept pace for him there. And the Murray Harrison stack came through this week, and it was enough to get Disco, moving to 2-0, and he replaces Gags to Riches in first place, while Gags drops to 1-1, and he is in 5th place. All right. Just taking a look at some of the benches here. Want to make sure that I don't miss any of the injury news, because a lot of you have already moved those injury guys to your benches, so I'm not really if I'm only looking at your starting lineups, I might be missing some stuff here. But yeah, even Diska got Charbonnet and Chandler. Even Chandler looked pretty good on the bench there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. Is there anything else to say about this matchup? Gags will be going with Derek Carr probably for a while now, which not a bad pickup. I think you plucked him off the waiver wire there fairly recently, and you're probably going to be going with him. Not sure how I feel about a quarterback running back stack for your Saints there, but I mean they are the highest scoring team I think in the league so far this year. They've put up like 90 some points in the first 2 weeks of the season. So yeah, we will see what happens going forward. That should be interesting. Going to be two interesting teams to watch here moving forward. All right, next up we've got Possum Magic quietly moving to 2-0. I say that because he is one of the people who we never hear from on the lineup. He knocks off the Dub C Hooligans this week, 174.95 to 133.25. All right, Possum Magic, what do we got? Lamar goes for 39. Michael Pittman, only 5. Justin Jefferson had a bink, so he got 26.3. Rashee Rice, probably glad you changed your keeper to him. I was definitely surprised when you were going to keep Zach Moss, I think was your original keeper. After the announcement, I thought there was no way Rashee Rice was going to be. I mean, I changed my draft strategy to pencil Rashee Rice in there as a target until you came to your senses and changed your keeper to him. He went for 18.5 points this week. Derrick Henry, 16.5. Javonte, 11.5. Kincaid, another super buzz, hyped up tight end coming into this year. Him and Laporta, Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce, but Kincaid, only 7.3 this week after a 2-pointer. So he's got 9.4 points in 2 weeks, slightly ahead of Travis Kelce. In the flex there, Scary Terry goes for 8. Elle McPherson, the most beautiful kicker of all time, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Let's see, about 15 from him. And then perhaps one of the biggest surprises here so far I want to say not just for Possum Magic perhaps, but like in the league in general, the fantasy league in general, that you commented on this already, that you have the Vikings defense, and that is your only defense. You've been rolling with them. Didn't care that they were at home against San Francisco this week and ended up getting, Yahoo says, 21. You must have gotten about, you got Jefferson there, so 9. I'm going to guess a 6-point bump to 27 from your Vikings defense. What's that guy's name? That's their defensive coordinator. He was Brian Flores, I think. He was with the Steelers for a little while after he was the Dolphins head coach. I believe he was doing defensive stuff for the Steelers. All I can say is, why is Brian Flores not the Steelers? Not that the Steelers don't have a good defense, but why is he not the Steelers defensive coordinator? Why they let him go somewhere, and everywhere he goes, he turns the defenses good. Not that the Steelers defense is bad, but why is he not their defensive coordinator? Befuddles me. That's not something I will ever understand. Why they had him in the organization and they let him go. Maybe he didn't want to be there or whatever, but yeah, that's something that I have found very strange, let's say it, that in the last couple of years here. But then again, I've got a Kenny Pickett Funko Pop right back there, in case you probably can't see it. But yeah, so speaking of questionable decisions. All right, then we got the Dub C. Again, oh man, we got questionable decision makers everywhere. Dub C hooligans. Jalen Hurts, you've got the Eagles buns this year. Just like Detling had last year. I believe we talked about that already. What do we got? Jalen Hurts. 48 points this week. Your Eagles defense. 1 point. I said Yahoo. I already said Yahoo said 4. And I had to take points away from you. So yeah, Monday night there, you only got 1 point from your Eagles defense. Your receivers, Waddle, Ayuk, and Lazard. 8.5, 3. David Montgomery, who I will say again, biscuits and porn. I don't think anyone still understands why Will Levis was your keeper and not David Montgomery. He goes for 17 points this week. Gus the Bus goes for 6. At least you're using one of your keepers there, Kevin. Still waiting for Chase Brown. What was your... you got rid of the Baltimore defense and kept Chase Brown. Questionable decisions by a lot of people. But what do I know? I'm 0-2 in the bottom of the standings. What do I know? Gus goes for 6. I said I'm holding on to this Vidal guy. I don't believe in, as I already mentioned, I do not believe in the combination of Edwards and Dobbins. I don't want to get rid of Vidal, but I might have to make a move here with some stuff that's going on with injuries. Because I know as soon as I get rid of one of these guys, someone's going to go down, and they're going to be a hot item on the waiver wire. I just know it. As soon as I get rid of either, I don't want to get rid of Corum or Vidal. I believe in those guys, although it's true that the LA Rams whole offense is a disaster right now. So Corum might not have really any value just because their offensive line is decimated. I think everybody knows that. Cup and Henry, or Cup and Puka. I don't know why did I say Henry? Cup and Puka are both probably both going to be on IR here. Their receivers are all iffy. Their O-line is a dumpster fire right now. And so that means not good stuff for the running backs here. So, but who knows? The way that this season has started, I feel like I don't know anything. Kittle goes for 20.5. Pacheco there in the flex goes for 16, but he is going to be out for a while now. Moody goes for about 6, and again, your Eagles defense, 1 point there. Anything else that I missed in this matchup? Justin Jefferson got hurt, but I believe he is going to be okay. Kevin praying for Mostert to come back, probably. After his miracle season last year. The guy who always gets hurt. He is another guy I would never want to touch. He has a chest injury, so that might not be too lengthy there for you. You're praying for him to come back because you need him. With Pacheco going down. All right. But I digress. Possum Magic, again, quietly moving here to 2-0. And he is in second place, while the Dub C Hooligans on the opposite end of the spectrum drops to 0-2, and is in 11th place. So next to first and next to last for each of these two guys. And then finally, the matchup of the podcasters of power, no longer the podcasters of power. The times, they are a-changin'. We no longer have the Kitchen of Love battles. We no longer have the podcasters of power battles because Detling is apparently too busy being a dad. He dropped in, which I do have to say this though. How comical it was. I don't know how he managed to do this, to pop into the podcast at the exact right moment. I assume it was just an accident and coincidence, but if it wasn't, then that's okay. If you were planning that, I don't think you were, but I hope that you weren't, because that makes it just really, really funny. The coincidence, really funny that you would pop in at the exact right time when they're just getting into your matchup there. But anyway, and it was looking good. James Cook was going off for 3 touchdowns. Smiles all around. And though that very quickly faded on Sunday afternoon as Hillbillies puts up the highest score of the year so far, 222.3, knocking off the Injured Jags 144.45. For Hillbillies, I mean, everything went right. Basically, everything that could have gone right went right for him this week. Everybody was scoring almost, if not in the 20s, in the high 20s there. All right, let's take a look. Your C.J. Stroud. Oh, you had, I guess, you had Collins down there in the flex. Your Stroud Collins flex Stroud goes for 40, and Nico goes for 28. DK Metcalf also goes for 28. Neighbors goes for 28. Ridley goes for 25. Jonathan Taylor, 18.5. Jerome Ford, though, only 7.5. Bowers, 18.5. So Nico had 27, 28. Bates, your kicker, goes for about 10. And then the Seattle defense must have gotten about a 6-point boost there to 18. But yeah, I mean, 25 to 30 points from all 3 of your receivers. Stroud goes for 40. Basically, all 4 of your receivers are between 25 and 29 points there. I mean, so yeah, 25 to 30 between those 4 guys. That's over 100 between, like 110 points from those 4 guys, I should say. You just need, when that happens, you just need the rest of your team to at least show up. And like I said, you had 2-2-2 this week, so yeah, way more than enough. Basically, everything fell into place for you this week. Yinzer Jags, his Detroit Lions stack after James Cook on Thursday night. Kind of what you're hoping for here from the St. Brown stack. Goff goes for 47 and St. Brown goes for 23. But Laporta only goes for 3.3. Putting him at 11.5 points here in 2 games. The tight end position has just been, once again, a dumpster fire, a shit show, whatever you want to call it, here so far this year. Very confusing as to what's been going on with that. But yeah, that you're hoping for more from, basically you're hoping that all of Goff's passes go to either St. Brown or Laporta, which is not an unreasonable expectation. A lot of them are, I mean, let's see, he had 34 completions, and your guys had 13 receptions. So 21 receptions to other guys. Matt, I'm sure you would like to see more go to your guys, but then you got pass-catching running backs. Jamison Williams finally starting to come around. So we'll see what happens there. Big problems here, though. Cooper Kupp looks like possibly a high ankle sprain. Um, he got 7.7 before going down, and out for an extended period of time. Nothing, nothing about IR for him for sure yet. So we'll see what happens there. Um, wouldn't be surprised if that ends up happening. So after that huge week one, Cooper Kupp breaks your heart, turns around and breaks your heart this week. Amari Cooper goes for 4. Speaking of breaking guys who break your heart, Rico Dowdle goes for 10. Sam Laporta said 3.3. Another one, Christian Kirk, makes 1 catch, but somehow gets less points than you get for 1 catch, because his only catch was for -1 yards. 0.9 in the flex there. Matt, that's going to lose you pretty much every week, getting less than 1 point in your flex, but I don't need to tell you that. Bass, your kicker, goes for about 7.5, and your San Francisco defense gets throttled in Minnesota, giving up that 97-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson. Yeah, that must have been a correct score, 13 on Yahoo, because we didn't really adjust your score at all. Yeah. So Brian lays down the thunder on Yinzer Jags this week. He moves to 1-1. Both you guys moved to 1-1. Although Hillbillies, thanks to his high point total, he is all the way up there in 4th place, right behind the 3 2-0 teams. And then we've got Yinzer Jags dropping to 1-1, all the way down to 9th place this week. All right, I believe that looks like we got covered all the matchups. Me, Josh and Jim, Boomers, Justin, we got that. Gags, Disco, blah, 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 Tree, and Brian. Yep, all right. Only 47 minutes, that's pretty good. Hopefully, Gags, we kept you entertained, you didn't fall asleep driving wherever it is that you're on your way to right now. Anything else? I think we talked about some of those injuries, things going on. Talked about the trade, right? I let those guys let those guys have their fun with it on Thursday. Kevin might not want to watch. Yeah. We said, yeah, Justin. So Josh and Justin are the first 2 teams eliminated from the knockout pool this week. I'm gonna have to start writing it down here so I don't lose track as the list gets longer here. All right. So the standings. We got 6 teams at 1-1. The symmetry here. We got 3 2-0s, 3 0-2s, and 6 1-1s. Let's take a look here at week 3, what we've got coming up. Let's talk about the 2-0s. We got Disco going against Yinzer Jags. Yinzer Jags, according to Yahoo, is favored right now. Not sure if we don't have any bye weeks yet, so we'll have to see what Disco's got going on there. Where's Possum Magic? He's going up against Hillbillies. Perhaps a good opportunity, a good week to be facing Hillbillies, as there tends to always, usually, well, not always, but usually be a bit of a letdown after your team blows up one week. So we'll see. Hillbillies is projected to win by about 10. So we'll see if Possum Magic can hold on and stay undefeated. And then we got Boomers. He is going up against the Wizard of Winber, trying to keep him winless and staying undefeated there. Making it harder each week, making it a little bit harder for me to try and come back and defend my title. Still planning on doing it. Don't forget, don't count me out yet. Like I said, I don't care if I start 0-6. I'm still coming for you guys. We'll see. God forbid that happens again 2 out of 3 years. But anyway, I should not speak such things out loud. All right, what else we got? All these 1-1s. We got two of the 0-2 teams this week. Somebody's going to get a victory. Dub C and Shawshank. Someone's going to get it. Could I possibly end up below both one of you guys? It feels gross knowing that I could end up being lower in the standings than one of you. Anyway, what else we got? 1-1s. Gags and Ed going up against each other. Should be interesting. Projection is pretty even. What else we got? Disco, Biscuits versus Darkwing. So yeah, not only 2 1-1 head-to-heads. That's Biscuits and Darkwing, Ed and Gags. Then everything else is a 2-0 versus 1-1 or 0-2. So yeah, so Josh or Kevin, one of you is going to get a victory. Boomers will be trying to knock me down to an 0-3 start, and Disco trying to keep rolling along and staying in number 1. Yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on here in week 3. Again, should be possibly an interesting night here on the waiver wire. In a few hours, we'll see what happens. Will anybody be blowing their wads, as Disco would say, going here after a couple players, namely some Chiefs. I think all 3 guys. Now that Kareem Hunt is apparently a Kansas City Chief, I think P. Ryan got sent back to the waiver wire here, so all 3 of those guys are out there. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And otherwise, I think that's pretty much it for week 2. Guys, NFL Fantasy Gods, stop with the injuries. Like I said, starting up on this. This has been one of the worst opening couple weeks that I think I've seen, if not ever, in a really long time. I've been one of the people suffering from this. Said T, even before the season started, T. Higgins is like going down with his hamstring injury, and that was the snowball starting down the mountain. So yeah, we're going into week 3 here. We are praying. All 12 of us are just praying for things to go well. All right. Yeah. So, Kevin, I should add that one of your dogs just took a shit right over there. You should probably clean that up or you have a wife. Isn't that what she's there for? Make her clean that up. I mean, I don't know why else that's why I don't have pets. Because I don't have a wife to clean up the shit. I mean, I assume that's one of the reasons. Anyway, what was I going to say? May everyone's players meet or exceed expectations this week. No more injuries. Stop. Please. For the love of God. Fantasy Gods. Stop. And yeah, we will see you back here next week to discuss what should be once again another very interesting week in Tonto's Demise, NFL football, fantasy football. This week, there are multiple Monday night games for some reason. You had 2 Monday night games: Jacksonville and Buffalo, Washington and Cincinnati. So is that going to be is that a thing every week here going forward? Well, I don't care for that. Yeah, next week there is. Week 5 there isn't. Maybe once they're doing that till the bye weeks start, perhaps. Not really sure what the point of that is. But anyway, maybe it's got to be something to do with like the deals between the streaming services and crap like that, or something like that. I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. And we will see you back here. So once again, everybody say a little prayer to the fantasy gods that no one else goes down this week. Maybe some people get some guys back, and we have an exciting and wonderful week 3 in the Tonto's Demise season 22. All right, guys. Thanks again. Bye-bye.